وما أرسلنا من رسول إلا بلسان قومه ليبين لهم.
دروس من المسجد النبوي الشريف.
In English.
In English.
In English.
So then they conclude that just as each Islamic country should choose what they're going to follow based on what their scholars say, that likewise the MSA, the Muslim Students Association in the United States, because that's where this question was coming from, that they should act as the Islamic authority in that land, and they choose whatever opinion they feel is closest to the truth. Now, based on that, where does that leave us today? As Muslims, we have an obligation to hold on to the rope of Allah and not be divided amongst ourselves. I mean, this is a fundamental principle of Islam, that the Muslims be unified. And so it is totally against the maqasid, or the objectives of Islam, that we would have family members in the same home beginning their fast on different days and celebrating the Eid on different days. Therefore, the hadith which at-Tirmidhi rahimahullah ta'ala narrated in his Jami', his book of hadith, and said that this was the amal of Ahlul Ilm, that this is what the scholars were upon, is the hadith of Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha, who said that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, as-sawmu yawma tasumun wal-fitr yawma tuftirun. That fasting is the day that you all begin fasting. That is as-sawm. Fasting is the day that you all begin fasting. And al-fitr, that is Eid al-Fitr, is the day that you break your fast. In other words, this is not an issue that we should be divided about. And that whatever the majority of the people in your area are doing, then that's what you should do. So for example, and this is another important point, that for the Muslims who are living in the West, you should be part of some kind of Islamic community. And you should know who the Muslims are, the Muslims should know who you are. There are things that, as Muslims, that only actualize or that only manifest if you are in fact a part of a community. You should be praying, especially as men, you should be praying in Jama'ah as much as possible, praying in the congregation with the Muslims. Whatever your congregation is doing, then that's what you should do, even if you feel like another opinion is stronger. Personally, it seems to be that the opinion that everyone fasts with a local sighting is the stronger opinion. I mean, from a textual standpoint. I don't think the other opinion is wrong, per se. I feel like the other opinion is stronger, but not necessarily that the other one is wrong. However, no matter what your opinion may be, the unity of the Muslims and the beginning of their fast and the Eid is more important, as indicated by the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, even though the hadith has some weakness in it. As Tirmidhi said after the hadith rahimahullah, he said, وَالْعَمَلُ عَلَيْهِ عِنْدَ أَهْلِ الْعِلْمِ, and that the scholars, the people of knowledge, act according to this hadith. As-sawmu yawma tasumun. Fasting begins on the day that you start fasting, on the day that you all start fasting. Wal-fitr yawma tuftirun, and that the fitr, that is Eid al-Fitr, the day you stop fast, is the day that all of you stop fasting and you celebrate the Eid. And so this is, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, the Muslims who are living in the West, that this is what is important for them. So if their masjid, for example, their local masjid that they go to, and the majority of the people in their area, and they are, for example, going to begin fasting whenever we begin fasting here in Medina, then so be it. Alhamdulillah. begin fasting, and you're going to fast 29 or 30 days, inshallah, and that is what is important. And if the majority of the people in your area, your locale, they're going with a local sighting, and they have a system established, because in some places they claim to do local sighting, but nobody's actually out sighting. They say, yeah, we're going to go with the local site. Every month winds up being 30 days from the whole year. Because even the ones, subhanAllah, and Allah knows best, the competence of the ones who claim to be sighted, do they really even know what they're looking for? Have they been trained to do that? So if you do, but if there's a competent organization or some type of structure that does a local sighting for that area, and that's what the people in your area are doing, then do that, bi'idhnillah, and don't break off from the jama'ah. Don't break off from the congregation. Wallahu a'lam. Now.
شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان